In the last 2 years, pregnancy has become more dangerous in Iowa. Last year, Republicans made it harder for women to prevent pregnancies by gutting Iowa's highly successful family planning program. Republicans made it harder for women to take care of their bodies by forcing them to go to new providers for Pap smears, cancer screenings, and family planning services. Republicans took away women's access to health care close to home by banning providers from Planned Parenthood, Unity Point, and University of Iowa hospitals and clinics, many of the state's most highly qualified providers, from providing women family planning and cancer prevention services. Senator Smith, your support of the bill shut down the Planned Parenthood clinic thousands of women in your district counted on for care. These women were accessing Planned Parenthood to take care of their health, not to get an abortion. You made it harder for them to do that. Senate Republicans, you made it harder for women to prevent pregnancy. And being pregnant in Iowa is not getting safer. To the contrary, you are making pregnancy in Iowa more dangerous. Iowa is seeing an alarming uptick in the number of women dying from maternal mortality. A maternal death in Iowa is defined as any death by the mother during her pregnancy up to 1 year postpartum by any cause. A maternal mortality committee is required to meet every 3 years by Iowa code. The last time they met was in June of 2016. There were 20 cases to review. 20 Iowa women died of maternal mortality. The next time this group will meet is in June of 2019, 13 months from now. Since the last review in June of 2016, already there are 41 cases of Iowa women who've died of maternal mortality. Many of these cases are due to women who have abnormally implanted placentas following a cesarean section. If the placenta is a subsequent pregnancy implants over the previous cesarean section scar area, the placenta can grow abnormally too deep into the muscle of the uterus and not be able to spontaneously separate after the birth of a baby. This can lead to life-threatening hemorrhage of the mother and require a hysterectomy, surgery to remove the uterus to save the life of the mother. In just the last year, more than 18 Iowa women lost their ability to have more children because of this at just one Iowa hospital alone. As a state senator and a maternal health advocate, I worry about my Iowa sisters living in small towns and rural areas across our state. Iowa only has 71 hospitals with active labor and delivery service. More than half of the hospitals that provide maternity services are rural level 1 centers. Women must have access to labor and delivery departments close to home, but our state is losing labor and delivery departments. In the last 15 years, Iowa has lost 22 labor and delivery departments across our state. With the number of rural hospitals who are financially reeling from not getting paid from MCOs, Governor Reynolds privatized Medicaid vendors, more rural hospitals will be forced to close their labor and delivery departments to keep their hospitals afloat. That means less access, once again, for Iowa women seeking health care. And what happens when Iowa doctors see women dying from horrific childbirth experiences? Many choose to leave the profession. Our state ranks 49th out of 50th in the number of OBGYNs per capita. Most of these doctors are in urban settings, not the rural areas. Only 2 of the 44 rural hospitals in Iowa that provide labor and delivery services have solely obstetricians attending vaginal deliveries. Of the 44 level 1 hospitals, 40% of the physicians who are capable of performing cesarean deliveries are more than 50 years old. Many of them worry who will take over for them when they retire. If a hospital cannot handle emergent C-section delivery 24/7, 365, they must close their labor and delivery department. Instead of improving access to health care for women, Republicans have pushed through policies that put more women at risk. Medicaid privatization, which serves nearly half of all pregnant moms in our state, isn't paying the bills for providers across our state. A nearly non-existent GOP family planning program that destroyed Iowa's highly successful family planning program and provides less care to fewer women and costs taxpayers more. A Republican ban on many of the state's most highly qualified providers from participating in the GOP family planning program. While families of Republican legislators, those who sponsored the legislation, can see whomever they choose under their taxpayer-funded health insurance. A 20-week ban on abortion with no exception, even for babies who won't live outside the womb, robbing many moms of the chance to have a subsequent healthy pregnancy. Cuts that take new Iowa moms off Medicaid immediately following the birth of their baby. No choice of doctor for pregnant moms to have access to an OBGYN for pregnancy care in their workplace and instead have to go to a corporate doctor who's more concerned about corporate profits than the health of women and their babies. Choice of doctor that has caused deaths of babies in factories across our state. Tonight, Republicans are pushing their extreme legislation even further by restricting the freedom of Iowa women and girls to care for their bodies and forcing motherhood on Iowa women. This bill is dangerous. This bill is unconstitutional. This bill devalues Iowa women. This bill puts a 6-week ban on abortion. The exemptions it provides are not adequate. Rape, only if it's reported within 45 days. Incest, only if it's reported in 140 days. Child sexual abuse victims, sorry, Republicans only give you 45 days unless you were raped by a relative. No exception for the future reproductive ability of the mom to have more babies. No exception for the age of the mom, no matter how young or how old she is, other than the limited time frame for rape. No exception for a mom with intellectual disabilities or emotional disorders. Republicans, our state offers better and safer reproductive health care for livestock than it does for Iowa women and girls. Tonight, Republicans, you have once again made a choice to debate legislation that devalues the bodies and decision-making skills of Iowa women and girls. None of you went to medical school, yet you Republican politicians are making dangerous medical decisions. This bill tells Iowa women and girls that forced pregnancy is more important than their health and well-being. This bill doesn't just impact women, it impacts girls. Under this Republican bill, an Iowa girl who is a victim of rape or incest would be forced by you to have a baby if she doesn't meet your arbitrary timeline, no matter how young she is. That is unfathomable. This session, the Speaker of the House refused to take up legislation to give victims of child sexual abuse more time to go after their perpetrators and prevent serial perpetrators from raping more children. Yet Speaker Uppmeyer and Republicans have no problem going after child rape victims, forcing pregnancy on them if they don't turn in their perpetrator in time. This bill threatens doctors with jail time for providing the medical care that they believe is in the best interest of their patients. It threatens our state's ability to attract providers who are interested in providing top-notch care to Iowa women. Why would a doctor want to practice in a state that threatens them with jail time? Why would a doctor want to practice in a state that devalues the women they serve? What doctor would want to practice in a state where half of their pregnant patients rely on Medicaid, where reimbursement rates are inadequate and not paid on time, if ever? This bill is a direct attack on women's health care across our state. If this bill were to become law, our state could lose its only residency program for OBGYNs at the University of Iowa, a highly successful program where 1/3 of the OBG residency graduates remain in Iowa to practice. We should be doing more to encourage physicians to practice in our state instead of scaring them away. Even if U of I is able to keep its residency program, it's a logistical nightmare to ensure they get the training they need to graduate. It would require them to train out of state. That brings extra cost, extra time, and extra headaches to residents. That means fewer OBGYNs. Students choose attending University of Iowa as a place they'd like to attend medical school. With that, it will mean fewer OBGYNs choosing to practice in Iowa in your very communities. As I said when I began my comments, when you lose doctors in rural Iowa, women have less access to health care and maternal health outcomes suffer. Iowa is already dangerously low in our number of OBGYNs. I want our state to be known as the safest place in the country to have a baby, not the most dangerous place. This bill is an unconstitutional outright ban on abortion that puts lives of women and girls at risk. This bill will result in more high-risk pregnancy, poor birth outcomes, and increased maternal mortality. Iowa women and girls deserve the best medical care possible. Iowa women and girls deserve the ability to take care of their bodies without politicians interfering with their decisions. This bill will not make our state a safer place to have a baby. It will do the opposite. This bill won't just affect Iowa women and girls forced into motherhood. It will affect access to safe reproductive health care services across our state for all women. This bill is dangerous. It is unconstitutional. If you wanted to push a pro-baby agenda, why didn't you not support a single piece of legislation that would help pregnant moms or new parents, like choice of doctor in the workplace, like time off for women to go to prenatal appointments, like equal pay for equal work, or more dollars to pay for childcare? A no vote tonight tells Iowa women that you believe in them. A no vote tells doctors you realize medical decisions shouldn't be made by politicians. A no vote tonight shows that you won't inject your political power into a woman or girl's uterus where it doesn't belong. I urge a no vote.